Hey guys, welcome back to part two of my chat with Miss Hoang Thi Lien. She's the chair lady of the Vietnam Pepper Association. Thank you so much for coming back with us.
No, my pleasure too, on behalf of the industry and on behalf of the farming community of Vietnam. Thank you so much for having me on the interview.
Definitely. Now, I'd just like to do a quick recap for our viewers who have not seen part one yet. In part one, what we spoke about was how the VPA was established 21 years ago. You gave us a brief run through on how that was done. We spoke a little bit on the actual production process of pepper in Vietnam. And we also spoke about what happened in 2020 when we hit a crisis in prices due to oversupply, as well as the kind of impact that the pandemic had on the production. You also told us how you ensure the sustainable development of the pepper sector, as well as how the VPA facilitates the close cooperation between the exporters, processors, and producers. Now, let's take a more closer look at the policies laid out by the Vietnamese government. How challenging is it for you as a go-between supporting governmental policies on production and export of commodities, and at the same time, championing the interests of the local farmers? And how receptive is the Vietnamese government to propose policy changes?
The policy cannot train, very fast, on a very frequent basis, because that is no one expect that. If that happens, so we have instability of the industry. That's not good for everyone. So my government, I think, is no exception. We support the government and we are supporting them, and at the time that is required, we will give them our comments and suggestions of what they should do, taking into account the current situation. For example, recently, I just give you an example to confirm that my government is a very pro-business, very dynamic and active, and fully support the industry, not only spice industry, not including pepper, but also other industry. For example, recently, the consuming country, for example, the US, the EU, and other potential markets, they are going to enhance, to apply more stringent regulations on imports. So that include spice industry. Pepper is one of spice. So because of that situation, so for example, some chemical, for example, carbendazim, paraquat, glyphosate, etc., are banned from, not allowed to appear as the MIL residues in the product when we export to them. So in that situation, so our reaction as the man, as the coordinator between the one economy and then the one market and then the supply from our domestic markets, that we are going to report that to the government. Hey guys, it is a thing happen that you got to think about how to have the industry in a way that we are not losing that market. So in that situation that we are proposing them, that we propose the ministry that it is something very poisonous, and then we got to consider and remove those chemicals from our list, because every year, or based on the situation of the development of the industry, we may release some or introduce some, or we may remove some. So in that situation, we told them this is a thing that not good to our industry. You guys got to take decision to stop that one. So when you stop those chemical, for example, so it would affect the the chemical industry. So who are importer, who are manufacturer, who are the trader, broker, so many. So they need time to be ready that in the next 2 years or 1 year, that would not allow to appear in the market, as input how to say, for the farming industry in the Vietnam, for example, Central Highland, the pepper farm.
It
So,
doesn't
if
happen.
the
It doesn't
pepper,
happen overnight, right? You have to
yeah,
take
it
time
cannot.
to do it.
It
Yeah.
cannot. But we got to convince the government and make them. It is a thing that you cannot compromise to those, because if you compromise to them, so it means you make Vietnam become standalone in the market. That, so when you sell something that, it should be, how to say, adaptable, it should meet the requirement of the market. You cannot just sell something that you are able to do or you want to do separate, separative, on a separative manner. So that is one example that I tell you, that the government is a very good listener, that because, if you are not doing it that way, so the industry will not be, you become, how to say, irrelevant to the industry.
Yeah.
So it means we are not becoming one, a separate. So it means if the VPA cannot do, how to say, a partnership with the other parties, if you have that manner. Another example, for example, so in order to support the industry by, helping and reducing the cost for the company, for the exporter, their export. So we also request to the, for example, customs, that, if you put pepper in the list of screening for the, custom clearance, list, that would not be good, because there is no harm to that, to add, to remove pepper from that list, because that is the one method to, support and to ensure the, how to say, the trade facilitation. And then pepper is a very simple product that you know not allowed to mixing, with anything. So you put them in the list, that you make the business more complicated, and it means more time consuming and more costly for the exporter, because they got to to take over that, to go over that step one time. So it means, so it is an example that to show that, whatever the good for the business, we are voicing on behalf of the industry, voicing to the chamber, voicing to the Ministry of Finance, voicing to the Ministry of Agriculture, voicing to the Ministry of Trade and Industries. Those are the big guy who mainly, affect and look at that, the pepper industry. So I think that is to going back to your point, that I would like to confirm and to praise our government that they are very supporting the industry. Or for example, recently, we are talking about the green economy. We are talking about our commitment for the net zero by 2050. So in that situation, the government got to issue some guidance, ahead of time to how to say, to increase awareness in the public that, guys, we are going towards that direction. So we need to think about the sustainability in a more close loop, for example. So recently, so the issue, the draft, how to say, guidance about the carbon market, about carbon credit, about the green economy. So already, formulated from the government perspective. So, the government is a very, how to say, a fast reaction, to that, situation. So I think that's enough to prove and to, reconfirm with the, the one business that, how does the government, function in my country, and welcome the, investor, everyone in, to do business in Vietnam with Vietnam.
It is really good to know that the government is very, very supportive. Now, I do understand that the Vietnam Pepper Association is authorized by the state to act as an executor to develop Vietnam's pepper industry. Can you elaborate on this position and tell us what strategies you have in place, being the world's largest pepper producer, to promote Vietnamese pepper globally?
Okay. So as the other NGO, so VPA and other organization, we consider, Vietnam government consider that is NGO. So when we want to form and to establish and then to implement our, functions toward our objectives, so we ask them for the permission to form. So that was happening already in 2001. So until now, over the last 2 decades, so we have reached our, how to say, achievements to make pepper become number one export, number two also producer, and then we are going to transform our pepper industry towards the more sustainable, more quality. So in order to do that, looking back at what we have done, we are happy and we are praise ourselves, the whole community, the entire industry, including everyone in the industry. But we are not stopping at that point, because the how to say, the market getting more challenging. The situation of the world today, suddenly something just happened that we don't know, and then we are building our world towards the more safe, more sustainable. So it means every single player, including spice industry, including pepper industry, also got to adapt to that situation. So for example, what we have done already, but we are still keep doing our putting our effort into improving the quality of the pepper, that we are delivering to the world. And then one side, that is the other side, we also try to improve our quality, to firm on our best quality in order to build our brand, branding. So branding and how to say the marketing for that, product is also important, because, you got a good product, but you don't have a good marketing branding, strategy. So you cannot reach to the maximum value of that product that you are supposed to, to gain. I think that is the two things. And then, in order to do that, so both quality and the branding got to be together. So in order to realize that, objective, we have a routine work, for example, the trade promotion activity program, attending the trade fair, international food expo, for example. We also bringing in the, the delegates from overseas to have a networking with our supplier, our farmer, to get them understand about our, farming, to get them understand, and then let also our farmer to have a chance to network with them in order to understand and open their mind about that. If you want to survive and maintain how to say significantly in the market, in the supply chain, you need to follow and you need to catch the signal of the market, for example. So those are the two things that I think we cannot do, consider one thing is more important than the other, but I think we do at the same time two pillars in parallel.
I think you just touched on something which is rather critical, I would say, in any business, because when it comes to produce, we need to see firsthand what the demand is like and where the demand is coming from, and exactly what their requirements are before we actually take the next step. And this is what you're doing by connecting them. I think it's great. Now, these members that you connect, tell us about your members. Who are your members actually, and what struggles and challenges are they facing? And being in the VPA, what have you done for them?
I can say that among nearly, I can say less than almost 200 shippers that all over the country, that who are either smaller or bigger, can ship, pepper and spice. So I have more than around 120 of the shipper of the member in my organization. Of course, among that, total numbers, we have the exporter, we have a manufacturer, and also we have how to say owner member. Who is that? Like a cooperative, like a researcher, like independent, separate people that who has knowledge in the industry, and then they join us on an honor basis to how to say, to give their service, to donate their service to the community without charging, without asking for paying anything. So if I'm talking about my organization, so my member, I think we how to say, put everything together. So we export more than 80% of the Vietnam export. my member can do that. So it means who are the doing the business in paper industry already member. Of course, there are some is not part of ours. So we are still keeping, that is our routine work to, promote our organization by sending them the invitation. That's not enough. We got to show them that what we are doing, and then if you join us, what is the benefit, and then what we can do for you. So I think that is a very short, introduction about my members. So for the challenges and opportunities to be a member of VPA, I think for the challenges, I think it happened to, I think, my member also have same difficulties and challenges with other industry. That, if we are talking about, from the macro economics perspective, now we have a competition. I think, I would give you a name that is my fellows at Brazil. That is, they are the runner-up after Vietnam. So we are top one. I can say Brazil top two. So they are getting more competitive. They are getting more, joining closely in the supply chain, compete with Vietnam. So that is another name. So from the demand side, we also got effect from the demand market. So how we can, have a more order in a very, critical condition of the world economy now. Or for example, there was the fundamentals that issues that affect every single industry. For example, the inflation in the US, the economy go to the recession, and then it would not, have any, something positive in the first 2 quarters of 2023, for example. And then the world market has put more, regulation and more, more stringent requirement for the products that they are going to buy and they're going to consume. So it means we got to increase our quality, the peppers that we are going to produce. And then, of course, the certification, the traceability, that is a part of the quality. It's also, I got to mention that because, based on the different buyers, they also want the different, certifications, the different program that they may got, because they think that is a good, and then that is, suitable for their country. So they want this certification. So we got to encourage our member, hey, guy, you got to do contract farming with the farmer, and then encourage farmer to follow this manual of the production, because that would serve and meet the requirement of the certain condition of the certain buyers, for example. So those are the popular, but that is the main difficulties and challenges that my member are facing now. And then we already done successfully the contract farming with the farmers, but it doesn't mean that every single farmer understand and aware of the sustainability. We also need to give them more training, more have to implement more outreach program in order to increase and encourage more farmer to join us in the that supply chain. And then another third factor that we have a wars happen somewhere, and then we have the shortage of, for example, hard currency in the Middle East area, for example, that situation. So it happened in 2022. So many order and shipment, even they were there, but the buyer, not because of their intention, but they cannot get the source to pay for those order, for example. So those happen not to only to spice industry, but as I said, the spice industry is small industry as compared with other. So what affect us, it could be bigger and to our entire industry. And then because of that situation, so the production cost could be a little bit higher, because for example the inputs that we are going to farmer going to pay to maintain their farm could be higher as compared with maybe previous year. For example, I can say the water cost, utility, electricity, water, and even the labor cost. So those things, that is basic component, but it affects the production process. And then the partner farmer got to work closely with farmer in order to make sure that even if the price production cost is higher, so they got to buy it at a higher cost, and then they got to have farmer in a way that any production period that you can save, that you can cut, so you can, that means you can save the cost of production, for example. So in my country, the farming process now, as the past one, we are talking about the harvesting process. I think in this, within the time constraint of this interview, I cannot tell you in detail, on the process of the how to make a black or white pepper. But water consumption is a one component to here to say to contribute the production cost. So if we can follow some method of watering, pepper to the trees, and then save that water cost, that is also a lot for the farmer. So in that, in any single how to say movement or development in the market, we need to be a partner with the farmer in order to guide them and to show them that we are loyal to them. We are not leave them behind when the war or when the situation is getting how to say more difficult. That is our commitment. And then the VPA, we don't own a single company, but we will commit to the industry as an organization. So what we are going to do, we will try to get something that would bring up the overall performance to the entire industry, but not to a single player in the market.
Right. That's really comprehensive. Now, I believe moving forward for this year, you have various events of value lined up for your members. Can you tell us a little bit about these events and how would they benefit your members?
Oh, I can say it's an amazing event. We just opened that event after 2 years of, interruption of COVID. And then we organized the event in the central highland of Vietnam, where the pepper farm is. Yep. So, the transportation may not be convenient as you do that in Ho Chi Minh or Hanoi or other big city. But we, see that is a chance for us to promote our pepper industry to the world. And also the chance for my guests to come to visit Vietnam and to understand about what we are doing, and then what we are improving in the message that we are trying to tell you, that sustainability and traceability, this is what we are doing. And then because of that, the thoughts of the host and the guest match. So I have a gathering of more than 300 guests, local and foreigners. So they are coming. They came to that event, and then the gift that they brought home is they understand about our industry, and then they have a chance to share with our community, the local community, including farmer, processor, exporter, that what they want, what they demand. If you produce pepper, this is the requirement, this is our demand. So both sides are very happy to share the thoughts and comment in a very open friendly manner, that we understand each other. And then by creating that platform, we also helping buyer and seller to network, and then to build trust between the buyer and the seller. I think that is the most important thing.
Great. Thank you for that. Now, should a new member want to sign up for membership with the VPA, is there a criteria they have to fulfill before they can become a member?
Yes, we have a very basic, conditions that you should be, you shouldn't be a robot, right? You are as a real body. You have as a real business. And then we are encouraged more, the partner who has a factory, who has a processing, rather than only trader and broker. But of course, if you are, doing or conducting your business in the agriculture, in the seed, in spice, you are welcome to be part of our, member, our part of organization. And not even those who are only relating to the product. You can be, organic, the provider, that, you have us like a third party, or even you are consultant in terms of how to say advising the farmer how to make pepper more healthy, more sustainable. So anyone who has a relevant business in spice industry, in pepper industry, are welcome.
Great, fantastic. Good to know that. Now, we have actually come to the end of this interview, but before we go, I would like to ask you, do you have any final words for everyone
Of
in the
course,
pepper
I have.
industry as well as the global business community?
I think I have it that word. It's a very short. So over the interview, I have share my thought with you about the how what VPA doing, and then what we want to be, and then what we are going to do in the future, how we are partnering with the industry, how we are partnering with the government, and also how we try to develop and also to improve, to enhance the branding of the VPA itself. We want to be an equal partner, that is trustworthy partner with, for example, the ASTA, the American Trade Spice Association, or even the European Spice Association. Those are organizations that is a combine, the main business of those, market. So at this point in time, I can tell you that I personally think that we have again the trust from the industry, from the organizations, from the partners, also from the government. So they are fully support us. So we are talking about traceability, we are talking about the branding, we are talking about the quality and contract farming with the farmer, and the training to the farmer awareness, and then, how to increase, reduce how to say pesticide, and, adapt our product to the, MIL requirement in the market. So I think those are many things that I think I can tell you that we want to be aligned with the requirement. So aligning with the requirement of the market, that is a message that we want to be in the how to say to be the first position in the world market.
As the chamber guy, I will help you spread this message.
Thank you so much. So I hope with your network and, to have so many connection everywhere. So I think you help us to send that message. So you are part of, you give me a hand in, helping the world know and understand more about the, spice and pepper of Vietnam, and then about Vietnam Pepper Association. So in the future, we will add more spices into our, portfolio. So we will have a Vietnam Pepper and Spice Association in the future, very soon. I think it's coming soon in the months.
We look forward to it. Lien, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Gochambers. Again, all the best for the new year, the year of cat 2023. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have just heard from Lien, the chairlady of the Vietnam Pepper Association. As she has just shared with us, the Vietnamese government, with its years on the ground, is very, very receptive to propose policy shifts and listens to the voice of the industry as a whole. The VPA plays a critical role in enforcing these policies and also assists its members to avoid negative implications brought on by market forces. I would strongly recommend you to visit the VPA's website, which is rather impressive, I might add, with a wealth of information and relevant market reports. I've enclosed a link to the site below, as well as the contact details of the VPA if you're considering a membership with them. Remember, in these uncertain times, we could all use the assistance and support we can get. So remember to hit the subscribe button, and as always, stay tuned to this channel for more high-profile power interviews with the movers and shakers of the business and chamber world. Stay focused, stay positive, stay safe. I'll see you soon on The Chamber Guy.